Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Tuesday, January 6, 2015. We're going to take a look at the market today and our indicators, and then check in on our trade ideas and see how they're doing. Okay, the Dow was down 130 points today. And at one point it was down over 200 points again in terms of pretty heavy duty selling kicking in, but the volume and breadth was not nearly as strong as it was yesterday. Let me just give you declining stocks 2-to-1 over advancing stocks, and declining volume was about, I'd say, 2.5-to-1, 3.1 to 1.2 are the numbers in terms of the declining volume. We'll get to the new highs, new lows here in a minute. And the interesting thing is, the bulls did try to come back in late in the afternoon. I can't remember what time exactly, and tried to rally this, but then it sold back off down. You can see this by this price action, the way this looks on this candle, okay, because this wick. That means the close is right here, so it opened right here, it sold all the way down here, then the bulls came in and tried to buy it back on up and reverse it, and just couldn't quite get the job done. It still closed below this trend line here. Okay, so you can see this is the kind of action you start to, if you see this, if I start to get a couple bars like in here, the flag needs to go up that says, okay, the bulls are getting the upper hand in here, and then see how it turned. Okay, so that's what we'll be watching for. We've had a pretty good little downdraft, and breaking this little trend line, I would expect support in here at a minimum of some kind of support. Now, S&P 500, a similar type thing, much stronger break on the trend line, and we're starting to get. Now here you're starting to get the 10 coming back. It isn't quite below the 21, and same thing here on the Dow. Let's go to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, a stronger break. We're almost getting to the point where we got to this this support area here, 45.50. We're getting the 10 breaking below the 21. Still got a fairly strong uptrend here on the 55. Okay, now that'll turn if we start to go sideways or continue down. New York Composite. This is interesting. Let me blow it up and I'll take it back down. This is interesting that, again, this is a little weaker, well below the 233-day moving average. We are now getting the 21 breaking below the blue-gray. Let me blow it up. The blue-gray line here, the 21-day moving average, is breaking below the 55. The 10's breaking down below here too. So we're getting the intermediate trend starting to turn here on the New York Composite. So we'll see what kind of continued price action we get. We don't have a close below the trend line, but it did break it. The other thing I was going to point out is I'm going to start talking about, what did I do? That's not good. There, this is what I was looking to do. I'm going to start talking about the McClellan oscillator, and I haven't really talked about this in the past. This is a pretty good little indicator a lot of folks look at and watch, and it really incorporates advancing and declining numbers as well as volume in it. And the math fluctuates as an oscillator. Okay, here's the zero line. And when you get down, what the McClellan folks, McClellan financial folks talk about is extremes with less than minus 150 and over 150. Now, a lot of times you'll see the peaks be much more than that. But then it's interesting when you see divergences form with that also. And notice how, like here on the previous peak, okay, the November rally to the early, late November, 1st of December wasn't confirmed by the McClellan oscillator at all. So we're going to throw one other tool in our tool bag and look at this as a part of our indicators for the market. So this is not totally in sync. What I need to do is I can get the actual data myself, but this calculation comes from my data source. and it's saying minus 155. The McClellan people are saying minus 125, but we get in the neighborhood, we get close. So we'll continue to monitor that and take care of that. And we'll also start looking at the summation index, but I'm not going to touch that tonight. Russell 2000 closed down here. We're approaching that 233-day moving average. I don't have a trend line in here. I'm not sure why on the Russell. We can remedy that situation real quick. And you can see how it broke it in here. Okay, and let's go ahead and take a look at the short-term trading index. We're rising up here a little bit. The 10-day is at 1.35. We now have, well, we don't have 2 out of 3 over 2 yet. It's just I'm looking for a cluster of closes up above the 2 as some kind of indication too. We're not really getting that yet. The volatility index, this was interesting because it approached during the day today. It approached this trend line, and I really thought there was a chance this thing might break wide open today, and it didn't. And it came back down again, kind of like yesterday. See how the bears kind of sold it off. This is the VIX selling off in here, and while the buying came in on the market. So we'll see. I'm not sure that this is telling us anything any more concrete. Let's take a look at the. Yeah, not really there either. So we'll see whether we continue to get a push. We break this, as I talked about, we break this trend line. I think there's a good chance we come up here and at least test 31. So we'll see whether we get that. The high low, we're down here around 0, kind of bounced a little bit. What I'm looking to see, if we break below 0, we get more new lows, 52-week more new lows versus new highs. We get below 0. This is going to start pulling this 10-day down. We get this 10-day, I like these moving averages, kind of helps me with trends. I noticed that when, over here, see how the moving averages crossed. Then they went sideways a little bit, but the trend was to the downside, okay? They crossed. The trend developed to the downside. They crossed. Now, sometimes they'll whip around a little bit, but, this is just something I'm watching for. It's just another thing. I'm kind of a pattern guy, so I'm looking for things that are patterns. Let's see. I think that's it on the indicators tonight. Let's take a look at, start off with CREE. That's fine. We can do that. We've been in CREE. We talked about it as a trade idea. So CREE's come on down here. Got out of half the position when it hit our initial target. And actually, this is one thing. If you have the ability to watch it during the day or early in the first hour or whatever, great. And you can get intraday data. Let me tell you what I was looking at. Once it hit my target and it was in a pretty solid downdraft, then I started watching 10-minute bars. Okay, and the 10-minute bars just kept coming down. It kept coming down. It kept coming down. And so I was waiting until the 10-minute bar started to stall or break the high of the prior 10-minute bar, okay, to then go ahead and capture half the profit. So that was a little thing I was trying to do, a little technique I was trying to use in here in terms of getting out of the half the position. So we're in half the position still on CREE, and we'll see if this continues to ride down at least to test here. And of course, where's the low? 27.25. That's another 2.5 points down below where we're at is the low. CAT is the other one in the C's. We'll continue to move on down. We've gotten out of half of this. I can't remember, it was the other day. I think it was on this bar. Can't remember exactly what day it was. I think it was yesterday. And then now continuing to ride the second half of this. And the details are on the Trade Ideas webpage, so this is working pretty well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some consolidation, but sometimes, you just keep trending down. And so what what you try to do is you're trying to stay with that if it gives you this. And that's the objective. The next one is... and we did get stopped out of YY today, and that just, was terrible. It was a terrible trade. It just, I probably pushed it in terms of getting in on that one, but anyway, it just did not work out for us, and so got stopped out. And I will have a little bit tighter stops on that type of trade in the future. All right, and here's another one, Best Buy, that we got in today. So let's look at Best Buy, because I didn't talk about this. I put this out, and I saw this starting to break down. I saw what looks like a rising wedge and ending, really like an ending diagonal. And I'm thinking it may be the last, like a wave ending diagonal of this move. And the fact that it's come back up here to where it had this major breakdown now looks like it may be trying to turn. I thought something like that was happening over here, but I really didn't have strong divergence in here. So I think the case is a little stronger right now. I'm seeing much better divergence on all three of the indicators: RSI, the demand, and DI plus. Okay, so DI plus and DI minus. You can see how DI minus did not continue to weaken as this went higher in this move in here. Okay, and now we got the cross of DI minus above DI plus, so that's just an additional feather in our cap for this move. So right now this looks good. We had our entry point today was hit and got in. It's broken this trend line, and so now it did rally back a little stronger than I would have liked to have seen, given what the market did. And the market was down over 200, ended up down 130. This came back a little more than I would like, but still ended up down for the day and down below the trend line. So we'll see what kind of continued move we get here out of Best Buy. Okay, so that's it for tonight. We'll be back on Thursday with another market update. Everyone have a great Wednesday, Thursday. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. It's real easy to do. And please share this on social media with your friends and family. Talk to you soon.